What's up, YouTube? Didn't see you standing there. Today, I've got some computer parts on the table. We're going to be putting together a holiday build for my goddaughter, who is 9 years old, and she wants to play some games and have maximum rainbows, and we also need to keep an extremely constrained budget while still getting pretty good performance. And we've got pretty much everything here. We're just missing the case that this computer is going to go in. So let's take a closer look. Here's the motherboard we're going to be going with. It's my preferred brand of motherboard, which is ASRock, and it was basically the least expensive full ATX board with the B550 chipset anyways, but it's still pretty well featured for an entry-level motherboard. Go ahead and unbox it for you guys. Inside the box we've got some SATA cables, plain I/O shield, manual, driver disc, some M.2 drive mounting screws, here's the processor we're going to be going with. It's an AMD Ryzen 5 5600G. This has the onboard graphics, which the way video card prices are right now, there's really no point in even looking at purchasing a video card right now. And her gaming usage is actually a little bit lighter. She plays games like Minecraft and things like that. And I do have a few cards laying around that I can pop in there if she does experience any performance issues, but I'm going to go ahead and give these onboard graphics a shot. This processor is a 6-core, 12-thread CPU, so the performance should be pretty good either way. And like I said, if the onboard graphics aren't really what we'd hope for, then we can always pop a video card in later. But I'm really excited to have this brand new AMD stuff in here to play with. Alright, here's the memory I'll be using in this build. My goddaughter wanted this computer to have a lot of the rainbow lights in it, so we did go ahead and spend the extra $4 to get her some rather ostentatious memory modules. It's just a 16 gigabyte kit, 2x8 sticks at 3000 megahertz, but it does have these RGB heat spreaders, which incidentally actually work with the motherboard, the ASRock Polychrome, supposedly, but I'll probably just let them cycle through on their own. I don't like installing a lot of that RGB software because it tends to be bloatware, but really pretty nice looking memory modules. I have not used this brand before, but they do have good reviews on Newegg and a fairly substantial number of them, so hopefully you don't have any issues with these. Here's the boot drive I've chosen for this build. It's a 256 gig M.2 SSD. It's not NVMe. The budget didn't really allow for an NVMe drive, even though I would have liked to have had one, but it's still M.2 SATA 3. It should perform really nicely for this. I've got a couple hard drives. I'd like to probably use this 2.5-inch 500 gig drive because honestly the hard drive probably won't get any use, but I do want them to have a little bit of extra storage in case they need it for backups and things like that. But I'm not sure. The case is not here yet, and I'm not sure what all the drive mounting options are. I don't have one of the little adapter sleds, so if I can mount this 2.5-inch drive to that case with no issue, I'll go that route. I'm not going to be using this 2 terabyte hard drive, although I do have a 1 terabyte Western Digital Blue and another computer that I may, if the 2.5-inch form factor drive doesn't work out, I may end up switching this out for the 1 terabyte Western Digital Blue and using that drive for this build. But all that remains to be seen, so we're kind of playing it by ear on the hard drive situation right now. Since my goddaughter really wanted the rainbow lights in this computer, what better way than an inexpensive mouse and keyboard with RGB? And I've actually used this particular mouse, or I have another one of these mice, although it does have a different design, but it's the same actual mouse itself. And I really enjoy this thing. I think this set was about $22 on Amazon. It has some pretty humorous broken English over here. Colorful mid-plate and gorgeous breathing lamp. Render atmosphere with colorful backlight. So I'll definitely make sure to do that. Let's take a look at it. Here's the mouse, just pretty basic. If this mouse is actually the same as the one I have, it'll just cycle through the RGB at all times, anytime it's connected to a USB port that has power present. And then the keyboard has the RGB backlighting, so actually feels pretty decent. The keys do. It says it simulates mechanical key strokes, so I guess we'll see. I'm sure. I've also got this computer that has basically just been sitting around, so I'm gonna sacrifice some parts out of this in the interest of keeping the total cost of this AMD build down. So I'm gonna be scalping this Corsair power supply out of this case. It has an AX3000 wireless card, or, well, no, I guess not. It's just an AC1200 Wi-Fi card, but that'll still be good. That's still pretty modern. And if I need to scalp anything else out of here, I've got it. There's a optical drive in here, and it does look like I have a 2.5-inch drive adapter, so just take what we need out of this and put a new system together. Looks like we have action, possibly. Let's see if we can get a picture. I've got some good news and bad news as far as this computer build goes. The case did show up in the mail, and it's actually really nice. I was very pleasantly surprised for a $45 case. Has a real tempered glass window, it's not acrylic. So I'm sure the fans won't be the quietest ones in the world, and I already know from reviews that the cable management's going to be a bit squeezed. But overall, the value for the money was outstanding for this case. It's really nice looking, and didn't have any issues with shipping damage or anything like that. It didn't take too long to get here, and shipping direct from the manufacturer, who I've never purchased a Montech before, but I would say not bad for a budget option. At least I can say that before I put anything in it, and we'll see how I feel after I do. But as far as this AMD hardware, unfortunately, you guys saw in the last clip that everything powers on, but unfortunately this board won't post and I don't get any video out of it. And after doing a little digging, I found out that this board, the BIOS revision is 1.1, and it needs at least 1.8 BIOS to start. And as you can also see, this BIOS chip on this board is not socketed. So I've been in contact with AMD and ASRock. I'm currently trying to get ASRock to RMA me a replacement board with a newer BIOS revision on it, because AMD won't play ball with their loaner program for CPUs unless you've exhausted all the motherboard support available and the thing still won't post. My only other option would be to drive to Micro Center, but it's about 2 hours away, and apparently they can flash the BIOS there. Unfortunately, this board, being a lower end board, does not have USB flash back on it. So yeah, as far as the AMD stuff goes, this is going to be on hold for right now, but in the interest of getting something on this under the Christmas tree for my goddaughter, I'm going to temporarily throw this Asus board in here. It's as you can see right there, it's a Z270 board. It has a 6700K. I'm probably going to move the RGB memory over to this board, but everything is going to go into this case, and I've also got to get into this computer, which in spite of its appearance actually has, I think, also some Skylake hardware in this case, but it has a GTX 750 video card in it, and I need to get that out because I'm not trying to give her these Skylake onboard graphics for her quote-unquote gaming computer for Christmas. So, but I do think with a video card added, this will be a good stopgap solution and put something under the Christmas tree until I can get this AMD situation sorted out. Alright, time to power this system up with its temporary motherboard and CPU in place. Oh, we've got some lights on the motherboard already. There we go. Board seems like it's trying to figure itself out. Let it run for a minute, since it does have some new memory installed and a new drive. Alright, and we have display out of this board, so that's excellent. I'll be home for Christmas. Just a quick shot of this thing running. It's pretty nice looking in the dark. It doesn't have the side window on yet, but pretty cool looking setup. The 9-year-old girl who's receiving it will definitely be extremely happy because there's plenty of rainbows to be had here. On the software side, I'm probably going to go ahead and set up Windows 10 on this computer before I proceed with popping in the video card and adding a hard drive to this build, and I've got lots of cable management. But I will say this case was actually not bad at all. I am going to run into some issues probably getting the cables to lay down flat enough to get the side panel on without it bulging, but the people are complaining the reviews, really, I mean, for $45 shipped to your door, like, I've been really pleasantly surprised by this case. I think it's quite a banger on a budget. Alright, the computer's up and running. Windows is installed. Everything's working pretty well. I've got the secondary drive detected, that 500 gigabyte Hitachi drive. I've got the GTX 750 video card just tossed in here to give a slight upgrade over these older Intel onboard graphics. And I did go ahead and order a new tower cooler, since the board I'm giving to her in this box now does have a tower cooler on. I don't want to give it back to her when I get this board up and running with the little rinky-dink AMD cooler on there. So we went ahead and ordered a clone, basically a clone of the 212, but it has RGB, and it was pretty cute, and I think she'll enjoy that. And when I do have to take the computer back and give it back to her, it won't be very shocking because it'll look pretty much the same inside. Actually better because it'll have more rainbows. So this is going to be the final update for this video, at least, on this AMD setup. I did end up having to send the motherboard back to ASRock to get the BIOS flash because my only other real option was driving to a Micro Center, which is about 3 hours away, and paying a $30 fee there. AMD didn't really want to play very helpful as far as sending a new CPU or a loaner CPU to update the board. So anyways, ASRock was pretty helpful. They were quick with the RMA, and they updated it to BIOS version 2.10, I believe. So really just happy I got some picture out of this motherboard finally.